I'm so happy you're here. We'll keep this casual since it's just a few of us, but I'm really excited. This is one of my favorite topics to talk about, and I know that some people don't love to talk about money, especially together. So just know that aside from this being uploaded to YouTube, everything you say here will be confidential, and they probably won't be able to hear you on the recording. So a little overview of where we're going. I'm going to talk about why money is so important to me and to teach people about and to have these conversations. A little bit about my past with money and my approach to it. And then we're going to do a couple of different exercises. So if you have a journal, if you like to do the Notes app in your phone, that is welcome. And we're also going to just discuss and chat about it. And then at the end, we're going to have a couple of practices. I'm going to send you home with a little bit of homework, but it's going to be really fun, I promise. So, why money? I've never seen a person who's stressed about money be at their best. No one is their best when they're stressing out about money. For me, I talk about money because I struggled with it. I grew up, I'll tell you a little bit more about my history, but I grew up comfortably, but also not learning anything about money except for like save money and don't use credit cards was pretty much the extent of my financial education, and that's really common for people. We don't really get educated about it, especially in a more modern way. Maybe you learned how to like balance a checkbook, but also no one uses checkbooks rarely anymore, right? So even some of the education we did get is outdated. I also saw a lot of my amazing friends who are just brilliant and they have the best hearts. They're so creative. I saw them struggle with money, and I thought, what the hell? This is not cool. I can't believe these people, this is the thing bringing these people down. And they have so much to give. And truly, if the people who are spiritually connected or have good hearts, if we don't have money, then nothing changes in the world. Then it's just the people who are willing to destroy the planet or stomp on everyone else who will have all the money, which is not a good look for us as a human race. And then money carries a lot of shame and stigma. It just, like, people feel awkward talking about it. And that shame, when it's hidden away, it grows, right? And it's kind of the same thing as when, you might be working somewhere and you're discussing your salaries and people feel really weird about talking about how much they make. But then all of a sudden you find out, hey, this person who's been here, half as long as I have is actually making more. And they told me I was at the top of the salary. So then it kind of reduces accountability when we don't talk about this stuff with each other. And also helping lift each other up, which is what we're going to do today. So, if you're here, it's not just about the money. The money's awesome. We love the money. But if it were just about the money, I would be teaching you how to buy something on Alibaba for super cheap and then drop ship it on Amazon and mark it up by 50% and just make a bunch of money that way. Wouldn't that be easy? But also, yeah, you're just can we do that too? But you want to make money maybe doing something that you love. You want to make money with integrity, right? It's not just about the money. And if you're here, maybe you have money, but you still worry about it, and there's this sort of anxious attachment relationship to money, right? Even when it's in the bank or it's in the retirement account, we still feel nervous about it. Maybe you want to make more money doing things that you love. Maybe you got good at making money doing something that you hate, which still pays the bills and is still totally valid, and also you want to make money doing the things that really fulfill you or help people. Maybe you want to make money with integrity. You're not willing to, climb a corporate ladder and be really cutthroat about it, and I think that's a great quality in a person. So maybe that's how you want to make money. And then you want to live your dreams, which we're going to talk about, and you want to make a difference, right? It's not just let's get everyone to buy a super yacht, right? That might be fun, and boats are cool, but also we want to make an impact, and we want to live a comfortable, beautiful, fulfilling life. So, I had a client in LA who was a millionaire. He was a entertainment lawyer for just a couple of small acts like Prince and Freddie Mercury, you know, a couple of those little guys. And he had the money, believe me. He had a lot of success and prestige. He also had a huge $10 million Beverly Hills mansion. It was very beautiful. Cars, the toys, and by toys I mean like first edition copies of Lord of the Rings, or like the Captain America shield, the real one, the actual one. And even this, he had a family too. He was married, he had a wife that he loved, he had 2 amazing kids. And even still, he described his life to me like this huge portrait of all the success and money and everything. And then at the middle of the portrait was this black hole, and that was him. And that was one of the saddest things that I've ever heard. So just know that you can have all of the money, and by the way, just like him, still worry about money too. He was always worried about money. Is someone gonna screw me over? Is it gonna get stolen? Is someone cutting me out of a deal? There was always fear around money. So we don't want that either, right? We don't want to just get all of the money and then be unfulfilled and unhappy. So a little bit about moi. I got my master's in teaching. So I was a high school English teacher, and when I got my master's in teaching, I learned everything there is to learn about how people learn well and what actually makes things stick. Then I shifted into teaching yoga, and my yoga teachers were also coaches. So they trained me in their style of coaching. Later on, I got certified in clinical hypnotherapy, success coaching, and NLP, which stands for neuro-linguistic programming, which is basically if your brain is a computer, how to hack it. And then during all that time, I was like in the throes of entrepreneurship, so I was learning about business and money along the way. And now I'm a full-time spiritual life and business coach. I work with a lot of creative entrepreneurs, some 9-to-5ers, who want to make more money, doing what they love, and easily manifest their dream life without the hustle, without all of the burnout. They still have their time, right? For me, with money, that's an interesting story, but I know we're all familiar with the 2008 recession. It hit my family very hard. We couldn't sell our house for, I think it was on the market for 2.5 years. It was quite a struggle. And that launched me into being a work-steady kid, financial aid. During college, I was working 3 jobs. So it was, money was definitely not something that came easily. And then I found my fortune as a high school English teacher. And then I got paid terribly to be a high school English teacher. I got my first credit card, but I didn't know what interest was. So I thought, hey, cool, this is so cool, free money. This is amazing. And that didn't go very well. And then I knew something had to change. I was burning out at my job. I was getting sick all the time. So I decided to move to LA to teach yoga and meditation and become a coach and help people heal through some of the other things like physical stuff, trauma that I had healed through with those modalities. And my big money moment in LA, not surprising, was probably 6 months after I had lived there, and I couldn't pay my rent. I was freaking out. I was messaging strangers on the internet, like, can you just give me some money? It was a huge low point, and I felt like, oh my gosh, I never want to feel that way again. That is the worst feeling ever. And I didn't know if my parents would be able to help me out. They run a nonprofit, which, sounds like the name, it's a nonprofit. So I was like, they were able to spot me a little bit of cash to get me through on that month's rent. I paid them back, and then I vowed to myself, I'm going to learn everything about finance, about manifesting, about energy around money, relationship to money. I took all the courses, I read the books, I just did a deep dive. Almost got sucked into a life insurance Ponzi scheme in Vegas, but we avoided that one narrowly. And it was really that moment that inspired me to make this shift. So, I approach money in a unique way. For us, when we're operating in the mindset of scarcity, when we think that there's a limited pie and we have to get our piece of it, and if we don't get our piece, someone else is going to get it, then we just don't think of the brilliant idea that would make us more money or passive income. We don't think of the smart money move. We don't think, we panic and maybe take something out of an account that's taxed really high. We just don't make the smartest moves. And I was talking to a friend of mine who's a certified financial planner, fiduciary, all of that good stuff. And she was like, yeah, your brain, when it's so limited, and so it's like we're in this scarcity room and we can't see that actually our world is incredibly abundant. Our universe is expanding at a rate that we can't even comprehend or really measure, and there is enough to go around, right? I know there's a lot about like, our planet's overpopulated right now, but there is enough. There's enough food, there's enough money, there's enough resources, there's enough housing, all of that for everyone to live. Now, the other lie that really gets me are the banks, the credit card companies, the powers that be. They want you to think that money is something really complicated. They directly benefit, right, from our lack of financial education. But it's really not. And I'm going to tell you a little story about how uncomplicated it is. I have never had any formal financial education. I'm not certified in anything. Everything I've learned is from reading books, podcasts, courses, things like that. And I was on a trip. It was at this hotel, and it was one of those big resort-style hotels. And there was a family reunion happening, and they all had matching lanyards. And I could just tell this family has money. So I kind of wandered over, and everyone has like their whole thing on their lanyard, their name, their job, all this stuff. So I started talking to this guy who was an investment banker, and he was actually the person who managed the family's trust and made all of the investments for their trust. And I was like, okay, I forget his name, we'll call him Bob. Okay, Bob, shoot me straight. Is there any better financial advice that you would give me other than investing consistently into low-cost index funds and letting that build over time? This is the investment banker of the giant trust. And he said, no, that's it. So I was like, good to know that you're getting 3% of this family's giant trust. So I promise it's not as scary and complicated as it can feel sometimes. And that feeling part, some people focus on that. Some people really focus on the nervous system with money, which is important, right? If we're going into fight or flight every time the stock market dips, we are going to have a really dysregulated nervous system, because that's what the stock market does. It goes up and down and up and down, but over time, it gets roughly 10% return. And that's been proven over 100 years. Some people just focus on the mindset piece, which I love the mindset piece. I focus a lot on the mindset piece, but it's not the whole thing. If you have the mindset piece, but you don't have some practical financial education, you're still going in, ill-equipped, I would say. And then manifestation. To me, our world is what we created, and we're so powerful, and it would be such a shame not to harness that, and also not to have a little fun and experience life's magic. So a lot of teachers, they just pick one of those and they really focus on one. I bring it all together. So that's what we're doing today. So this is our first thing we're going to write down. If you have a journal, if you have your notes app, or if you just want to think about it, that's cool too, but I really want you to see it. And I don't know if we have like other paper. Actually, going to get other papers.
Oh, she has
Yeah, I can imagine in the library there's got to be some paper, and there's definitely pens up here. So, our first exercise is really simple. We're just going to list all of the ways that you have ever made, earned, or received money in your entire life. So if you got 10 bucks, we're just like, yeah, we've got time, don't worry. So different jobs, if you got refunds, interest, or dividends, if you've won prizes, a scratch off, if your grandma put 20 bucks in a birthday card, inheritance, cash back, anything you can think of. We're gonna take a couple of minutes and do this and just bullet list. Like if you were a babysitter when you were a kid like I was, I sold slushies on the side of the street and convinced all my friends to buy a slushie machine together. So we're just going to jot them down.
And I found one clipboard, but we can also use books.
Does anyone want some physical paper?
Thank you. Yeah, it's just scratch paper.
Oh,
The other side. Oh, yeah, you need
great,
them.
thank you.
Anyone else? Okay.
And by the way, I want you to list like individual jobs that you had. Maybe you know, have gotten a tax refund before, or other kind of like assistance or money from the government. Maybe someone gave you a gift or a loan. Maybe you won something. That's always a fun way to receive money. Maybe you won a prize. There's nothing too small. If you get to a stopping point, I invite you / challenge you to keep going so you can come up with more. Nancy, we're just jotting down all of the ways that you've ever made or received money in your life. No big deal. Every single one. And Ashley has paper if you need it. We'll do just like another minute. So any kind of job or gifts, if you have a high yield savings account or stocks or bonds, have you sold something on Poshmark? Or if you had a garage sale? Alright, and even if you're not quite done, how did that feel? Kind of fun?
People trying to remember it all.
Yeah. A good exercise for the mind. Did anything surprise you or stand out?
I worked a lot.
Yeah, yeah. She's like, I'm ready to chill. Yeah. Had a lot of different jobs, different kinds of work. Really cool.
And I could keep it going. I mean, it
Yeah.
didn't stop. It's like, ooh, I didn't know. Yeah, I did that and that. It just kept going.
So cool. And sometimes that's like, oh, I have these transferable skills and I can like do this other thing. Or sometimes it's like, I'm done working and I'm ready to receive money in like the easiest possible way, you know? It could be any of those. So the purpose of this exercise is just to see there's so many ways to tap into abundance, and sometimes it just takes a little bit of intention and remembering what you've already created for yourself. So now I want you to think, or you can circle them or list them, which of those ways were the most fun? Which of those ways were the most fulfilling? And which of them were the easiest?
All those categories.
Yes, yeah. Even just one or two. If one was like, I had the most fun, like I got paid to model for this photo shoot and do this cover shoot, and it was so much fun, right? Or like DJing is one of my favorite ways to get paid. And then maybe fulfilling, maybe you did some work for a nonprofit. Maybe your career was really meaningful. Maybe you got an amazing gift. That was one of the easiest ways, or maybe you got a scratch-off ticket. We're just tapping in to some of that energy and giving you a chance to reflect.
Fun, fulfilling, and what was the other one?
Easy.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
Yeah.
Easy.
There too. Yes. And we might just like underline them or star them. And next, this is one of my favorite exercises, to think of the coolest way to describe how you currently make money, and I have some examples. So I was a nanny for a while when I was growing up, and I was literally getting paid to sit at a country club and eat snacks and watch a 7-year-old boy go up and down the water slide like a million times. And I was like, that was a really cool way to get paid. Now I literally get paid to help people live their best lives. It's like so fun. Help people manifest, help people create their dreams. So fun. Maybe you've received inheritance and you get paid to exist, or you got paid to be born, or you get paid to carry on your family's legacy. So we're just thinking of a cool way to describe how you currently make money, or one of the ways that you've made money. And if anyone comes up with a good one, I really want to hear it. Because these are just mine. Ashley, what's the coolest way you've made money? I'm like reading books, getting paid to read books.
I think so. I think like the getting paid to love on the community is kind of cool.
Wow. A+. Anybody else have one they want to share? The coolest way to describe how you've made money?
For me, it was doing Uber Uber rides.
And you probably just get paid to have like awesome conversations with people.
You gotta create those conversations, but yeah.
Yeah. Very cool.
The coolest thing for me is when I sell a painting, because not only is there some money coming in, but there's the surprise of selling the painting.
Yeah.
Which is worth a million to me.
Right? It's such a good feeling, like your art that you made and someone just thinks it's beautiful.
Yeah.
So cool. Such a good one. Anyone else?
That'd be fulfilling, I'd say.
Yeah. All of the above. And what's so cool is like the person, who, like the community loves that you get paid to do that. Like the person buying your art loves that they get to have this beautiful art. Like I'm thinking of a painting we have, and every day that I look at it, it makes me so happy that it's there, right? And then the folks in your car travel are like, wow, this is so cool. I didn't just get one of those Uber drivers who's, speeding through the lanes making me fears for my life, but someone who I could have a meaningful conversation with, like probably about religion or philosophy, more than likely. Okay, last thing, we're going to expand on this one more time, which is, what are a few new ways that you'd like to receive money? Is there a way you've never received money before that you want to? Maybe something from your art creativity. Maybe it's like a different kind of painting, or maybe it's like, I want to sell a painting to a gallery, or like, for it to be displayed somewhere. Maybe you want to make money from a rental property, or you want to have passive income. You want to sell something online. Maybe it's from a new business, maybe it's a new kind of investment. Maybe you want to make money from investing in like a friend's startup. I did this recently, and my friend was starting a laundry business, like when they go to your house and get your laundry. And they have this really cool website where you can just even invest like $50, and then you get like little dividends back. But just that exercise of circulating your money in that way, and that's why we say money is in circulation, right? It's meant to move. Anybody want to share any new ways that you're calling in and speaking into existence?
Yeah, I want to. Okay, I have a piece of land, and I have 2 buildings on that land, one of which I live in. But I can envision a space where there could be 3 other buildings for 3 other couples or families, units of people that could then both create in the art space and farm in the garden. So I want that to happen.
Sounds like music to my ears. I'm like, anyone else? What's going on there? Anybody? That's really awesome, Marta. I love that vision.
I want to make these Christmas ornaments, or they don't have to necessarily be Christmas. You could make them for just little gifts, but I used to make them all the time when I was younger for people, like the kids' teachers at school or whatever.
Oh.
And so I've been thinking about making those and selling them at the Merman.
I love it.
Yeah.
So cool.
And it'd be fun to do too, as a craft, where you...
Yeah, where you enjoy the process of it. Oh, love
Yeah.
it. Love a good handmade
Yeah.
gift. So cool. Anyone else? Anything you're calling in, or a new way you want to receive money this year? Anybody?
I'd like to make money on my rental property in Omaha,
Yeah.
but I just had a horrible experience being a landlord.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, I don't know if I want to do that again. But it would be it's a good way to make money
Yeah, absolutely.
if you get the right tenant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so then it's like a refining process of like, okay, I want to make money on a rental property with an amazing tenant or with an amazing Airbnb host
Right.
or something like that.
Yeah.
Awesome, thanks for sharing. Okay, our next little expansion is one single step that you can take to get closer to the new way you want to receive money. Anything that you can do today, just jot it down. This is just for you, for yourself, for a little accountability, because I think a lot of people forget that part of the manifestation process is taking inspired action. So yes, we focus our intentions and we speak them into existence, but we also go do the thing. Like Carrie works on her vetting process for the rental property, perhaps.
Mhm.
So one tiny little step, nothing crazy. It could be something that you could do today. It may not be start the whole new business, but it could be get this license, or it could be, starting a YouTube channel. All right, we're gonna talk about the subconscious mind now. Because I was trained in hypnotherapy, once I started to learn about the subconscious mind, it really blew my mind. It really did, because it's the part of you that is running the show in the background of everything that you do, and it is 99% of your awareness. And that other tiny little sliver is your conscious mind, right? Which we just think is running the show because it's the conscious part, right? But then we have the iceberg underneath, that's the subconscious mind. Which, when you're 0 to 7, you are a walking, talking subconscious mind. And everything that happens when you're 0 to 7 gets imprinted in your subconscious mind as though it is final truth. Now, we can work with this, which is the good news. You're not just set with what you have for life, right? But it stores beliefs formed from past experiences, from the family. You can also have cultural subconscious programming, right? Subliminal programming that we get. We see enough commercials about, X thing, and suddenly we think we have to lose weight or whatever it is. This runs our habits, our patterns, our emotional reactions automatically. It's really that, it's the part of you that when you were first learning how to drive, you had to sit down, check your mirror, buckle your seatbelt, put your hands, start the ignition, and now all of that happens in a second. That's because of your subconscious mind, which is great for some things and not so great for other things. So it's highly influenced by repetition, by emotion, and your nervous system state. So if money feels stressful or scary, even if you have money, I've seen plenty of people, they have the money in the bank and they still feel really scared or worried about money. Your subconscious is trying to protect you, but it's sort of sabotaging you, right? It's trying to keep you safe. So we're going to do an exercise right now to uncover what might be lurking in your subconscious that might be holding you back from having the financial success that you desire. So this is one of those where I want the very first thing that comes to your mind. Don't censor, don't edit it at all, and don't think, what would Anna want to hear me say, or what's the right answer? I just want the first thing, right? That's how I get the subconscious. So you're going to fill in the blank. You can say it out loud, you can write it down, whatever you prefer. Making money is blank. And just keep track of it. Making money is blank. Saving money is blank. Saving money is blank. Personal fave of mine, rich people are debt is, and our last one, if I had a lot of money, my friends or family would be freaking out or excited.
You would be excited.
Yeah. Okay. Does anyone have one that they want to share, one that surprised them, one that they feel like, ooh, I don't know, my subconscious
first two I had, all three were pretty similar.
Yeah.
Fun, work, and hard. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, making money can be fun.
Yes.
It is work,
Yeah.
which can be fun,
Yes.
but it also can be hard.
Totally.
And saving money is fun. It's creative. You can think of different ways of doing it. So I had three things for both of those, I guess.
Yeah. And starting to parse out like which one feels truest, and that could translate to like sometimes saving money feels really fun, and sometimes it feels really hard, right? And there's like a refinement there. Anybody else want to share anything that surprised you?
I was surprised at how much sort of ancestral commentary was going along with my making money, like, we don't do it in our family here. It's not smart because it gets you in trouble here. It was like the whole ancestor team came up and gave me this little lecture about why our family doesn't do money.
Ooh, chills. So deep. It goes deep, trust me. I'm like, odds are somewhere in your family line, there was someone who made a lot of money, and there were also people who probably didn't have a lot of money. And there was probably both.
Can I just add something? Just what you said reminded me, I just finished reading a book, and it's about how even emotional stress gets passed on through the family. So, I mean, even that, when you have generations of people coming in, that's just, it was really interesting to think about how, like what you were talking about, subconscious, but our emotions and our feelings that aren't necessarily things that we think, but just that we feel in moments, and that how that comes from even our own family in the past. It was just really interesting to think
And
about.
they were all women.
Well, I'll let you say that part.
Well, yeah, and part of the language of our subconscious mind, right? Our subconscious mind operates in images, sounds, and feelings, right? So that's part of how it communicates, right? We hear the voice. Yeah, Carrie.
I would say debt slavery.
Ooh, that is intense.
It is.
I like it. But
But ultimately, really? Is that-
yeah, absolutely. And I think, I think debt is a tool. Like debt could also be a tool, right?
Hmm. Okay.
Or debt is a decision, a choice to pay something off over time.
Hmm.
Just
You're
other,
so, you're so much more positive.
but it's just other ways to look at it, right? But if
Yeah.
someone taught you
Interesting.
that all debt is slavery,
Yeah.
like, it's really interesting because you guys know the earth is actually like in debt. Like,
Oh, yeah.
the entire earth is in debt. Which is like, how did we lose at this game we made up? Like, why are we losing? We made it up, why are we losing? But yeah, we're just loosening up the thought forms of like, oh, there could be a world in which debt was a tool that helped me start this business that led to something so much greater than if I was afraid of debt
True.
and had held on to this money and let the fear run. Also, not saying like go out and get in debt, right? There's different kinds of debt too, right?
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, so it's just like something to think about.
I'm thinking of like credit card debt with a high interest rate that
Totally.
people can never pay off, you know?
Totally.
But yeah, that's a very interesting way to think of it. 'Cause
Absolutely.
you can invest in something and then you're in debt, but then it can be profitable.
Exactly, right? And it might be, there might be moments where even if it was a credit card, like a business used a credit card to get new inventory, but they really needed it and they didn't have the cash flow, but now they have these things to sell, right? So it's like, it could also be debt is what you make it, right? It could be slavery. It could be, I'm thinking of like, I'm reading this book right now, and one of the characters is in like gambling debt. Like, not a great feeling debt, right? Not leading to a lot for that person, for that character. But yeah, we're just looking at like, could there be something holding us back, right? And maybe there's a little sneaky belief that we're not consciously aware of, and we could loosen it up or be open to seeing things differently. I'm like, how are we doing on time? Oh, we're just peachy on time. Okay, so taking action. These are just great habits to do for keeping the channels clear. The first is kind of a feng shui thing. So a physical channel for feng shui that you can do for money is clearing your front doorway, your mudroom, whatever's the entry to your home, keeping that nice and tidy. I've done this before. Ours is kind of a classic mudroom. I don't know if that's like a Levita. You know, there's like coats and stuff. And I remember one day I was like, okay, we gotta get this straightened out. We gotta get the energy better in here. And it was like immediately a client paid me like $700 out of nowhere. And it was just like instant coming in. Very fun. You could also clear the place where you do your work. If you have a home office, if you have a home art studio, keeping that clear. And then in feng shui, if you're facing your house, into your house, the back left corner is your wealth zone or your wealth hua. So it could also be the back left corner of your home. Sometimes it's not a very exciting thing. For me, it's my office. So it's a very fun thing.
I love the way you say that. Clear, like you may have 20 things going on mentally and 20 other things going on physically, and you're just starting small. Clear one thing.
Totally.
And that makes so much sense.
Yeah. We gotta take it step by step. No point in getting overwhelmed here. Another thing I love to do to clear physically is sell or donate something, especially something that you don't use anymore. There is some harrowing fact. I think it's the average American household has like 300,000 items, which is very scary. I want to also be clear that overconsumption is not abundance. Like, it doesn't just mean having lots of stuff, right? There's lots of ways to be abundant and feel abundant, but this is a great way to tap into the frequency of abundance. We had this coat, and I was like, we have so many coats, like, someone can use this coat. Dorcas in Walsenburg is open Tuesdays and Fridays. They take donations of all kinds of things and have an awesome team working there if you want to keep it in the community. You can also just give something. I love when I have like an item of clothing that I don't use anymore, and I'm like, Lonnie, this would be like so perfect for you. Like, and you feel like it's found its new home, right? So donating or selling something that you don't use anymore, because that energetically, it's clogging up the portals, right? When we have a bunch of stuff that's laying around that we don't use. And then clearing one mental channel. So putting a bill on investment, anything that you're paying on auto pay, so where it just does it automatically, you don't have to think about it. And then I also have in Google Calendar, do we have any Google Calendar users?
Very rarely.
I am shocked. I'm like, I live my life by my Google Calendar. That is the only way I know like where I need to be when for anything. Well, you can make a separate calendar for like your auto pay. So like, oh, this thing comes out this day, this thing comes out this day, or this is the day that I auto draft, you know, to my savings or to my investment. So we're taking away the mental clutter. I think people think the more money you have, the more it takes to manage your money, but actually a lot of times the more you have and you create systems as you go, you could spend maybe a couple of hours managing your money every month, and that's it. It doesn't have to be more than that. Any questions at all before we complete and wrap up, and I can sign books?
I just had what I thought was a brilliant idea
Let's go, Marta.
regarding mental challenges. So I get every day an email, I go to the post office, I get some solicitation from nonprofit, all the people that I love to share with. But I'm like, I cannot do this every month, guys. 1 month a year, the beginning of January, you will all get a check from me. And after that, I don't even open envelopes envelopes that come through the year that just go into recycle, because I feel I have cleared my channel. I did what I wanted to do for those organizations, but I just simply can't remember any longer who I paid when, what, and all of that, so to keep it simple and clear, I said 1 month a year, I will pay everybody.
I love that.
It helped.
And it's always abundant, like any giving, charitable, anything, money is great, but also time or belongings, that is one of the most abundant, that's the easiest way to tap into the channel of abundance. So I love that. And also make sure you keep track, it's lessons to keep track of, so you can write it off on your tax return as a charitable donation. Anybody else? Any questions or like aha moment or takeaway?
For me, it's interesting that I started my spring cleaning much earlier this year. If I just had to clean channels in the house, for some reason in January, maybe it's the weather outside that makes me think it's springtime. Or for some reason, it's happened much earlier this year.
So it's interesting that you say that because this, the lunar year is still completing, so that ends/starts in the middle of February, and this year was a year of the snake. So there's a lot of like shedding and letting go of things that I feel we're having in the beginning. It feels weird to have it in the beginning of the year, but it's technically still the end of the lunar year. So yeah, check us out. Anyone else been feeling that? Like a letting go or releasing in this part of the year? Yeah. All right, my beautiful people. Last thing to take action on, I have an amazing app. It's not my app, that sounded like it's my app. It's an app that I love to use called Monarch. And you can keep track of all of your accounts. So if you have accounts with different banks and different cards, plus you have your investments and you're always like checking 7 different things, this puts it all into one place. If you have a spouse or a partner, you can also have all of your accounts together in one place and see them. But you can also include your business. If you have business transactions, you can categorize your write-offs. You can keep your business and your personal separate in that place, so it makes it really easy to file your taxes, which we're about to get into that time very soon. And then you can also even log, like if you have a car loan, you can log valuables, so you can see your total net worth, and it's just an amazing app to have everything in one place. So you can scan this code. This will give you half off your first year. I think that makes it $50 for the year. So if you need a new tool to help you manage your money, this is my absolute top recommendation. It is so good. Plus, you can use fun emojis for your budgets and your business transactions, and it just makes it a little more fun, okay? Because we gotta do it. And then your very, very last piece is to grab a book if you want. So my book is full of a lot of amazing exercises. Today was just like the tiniest scratch on the surface of the tools that I have for you. It also has a lot of fun stories. I have been calling this book my beach read of money mindset. Just a fun read. I have some friends who are already making a book club on it, so that's on the table. But yeah, I have plenty of copies here. I'd love to sign yours. They're $20. This is Venmo. I can also take cash, or I can take the card as well. And thank you, library, for having me.
Thank you so much.